The clock on Tom Parker's desk showed 11:58 p.m., but he barely noticed. His eyes were fixed on the small robot arm in front of him, its wires spread across his desk like colorful spaghetti. The lamp cast a warm glow over his cramped apartment room, where textbooks and tools fought for space on every surface. "Just one more adjustment," he mumbled, reaching for his screwdriver. At 23, Tom was already known as one of the most promising engineering students at his university. Not that it meant much at midnight when he was alone with his projects. The robot arm twitched as he tightened a bolt. A small victory, but Tom allowed himself a tired smile. He had been working on this project for weeks, trying to make the movements smoother, more natural. The professors said it couldn't be done with their budget, but Tom had always enjoyed proving people wrong. The digital clock clicked to 12:00 a.m. That's when everything changed. A soft blue light began to pulse in the center of his room. At first, Tom thought he was seeing things. Too many hours staring at screens and circuit boards. But the light grew stronger, casting strange shadows on his walls. The air seemed to ripple, like heat waves rising from hot pavement. "What the?" Tom started to say, but his words were cut short by a flash that filled the room. He threw his hands up to shield his eyes. When he lowered them, he wasn't alone anymore. Where the blue light had been, a girl now stood. But she wasn't like any girl Tom had ever seen. Her skin had a silvery sheen to it, almost like moonlight on water. Her hair seemed to shift colors slightly as she moved, like the surface of a soap bubble. Her clothes looked like they were made of some kind of flowing metal, catching the light in impossible ways. She was also clearly terrified. Before Tom could react, she dove under his desk, knocking over a stack of engineering magazines in the process. He heard her breathing heavily, and what sounded like words in a language he had never heard before, musical and complex, with tones that seemed to overlap. "Hey," Tom said softly, trying to sound as non-threatening as possible. "It's okay. I won't hurt you." The alien girl, because that's what she had to be, peered out from under the desk. She was holding a small device in her hands, frantically pressing its buttons. The device sparked, making her jump. "Translator, malfunction," she said in broken English, her voice carrying an odd echo. "Please, danger, help." Tom slowly got down on his knees, keeping his distance but trying to show he was willing to listen. "Are you hurt?" he asked, pointing to himself and then to her, trying to make the question clear. She shook her head, then reached for her translator again. "Hunters, following. Bad ones. Need hide." Just then, they both heard the sound of helicopters passing overhead. The alien girl tensed, pressing herself further into the shadow of the desk. Her eyes, Tom noticed, had pupils that seemed to shift shape, like camera apertures adjusting to the light. "Look," Tom said, his mind racing to process everything that was happening. "I don't understand much of what's going on, but if you need help, I'll help you. My name is Tom." He pointed to himself. "Tom." The alien girl seemed to relax slightly. She pressed a few more buttons on her device, which sputtered but produced some clear words. "I am Luma." Not real name, but close sound in your words. She looked at him with those strange, shifting eyes. "Thank you, Tom." As if to emphasize the gravity of the moment, more helicopters passed overhead, their searchlights sweeping the streets below. Whatever was happening, Tom realized his ordinary life had just become something very different. And somehow, he knew there was no going back. Tom's engineering tools lay scattered across his desk as he examined Luna's translator device under his desk lamp. The alien girl sat cross-legged on his bed, watching him with those strange, shifting eyes. Outside, the sound of helicopters had faded, but they both knew they weren't safe yet. "This is amazing," Tom whispered, turning the small device over in his hands. Its inner workings were like nothing he'd ever seen, yet somehow familiar. "It's like someone took 100 years of Earth technology and shrunk it down to pocket size." Luna tilted her head, understanding only parts of what he said. Her device occasionally sparked, translating random words. Careful, energy core. Sensitive. Tom nodded, reaching for his precision screwdriver. Years of fixing broken robots had taught him to trust his instincts. The device's casing had patterns that reminded him of circuit boards, but they seemed to flow and shift when he wasn't looking directly at them. "I think I see the problem," he said, pointing to a small crystal that had come loose inside. "This part isn't connected properly anymore. Like a broken bridge." He made a connecting gesture with his hands. Luna's eyes widened with understanding. She reached into a pocket of her metallic clothing and pulled out what looked like a tiny silver pen. "Tool. Fix. Please use." Tom took the pen carefully. As soon as his fingers touched it, it hummed to life. The tip began to glow with a soft blue light, similar to the one that had brought Luna to his room. Following her gestures, he touched it to the loose crystal. The effect was immediate. The crystal reconnected itself, tiny strands of light weaving it back into place. The translator device began to hum with a steady rhythm. "Thank you," Luna said, her voice now clear and natural through the repaired translator. "I was worried I'd be stuck speaking broken English forever." She smiled, and Tom noticed how her silver skin seemed to shimmer slightly when she did. "Now that we can understand each other," Tom said, handing the device back to her, "can you tell me what's really going on? Who's after you?" Luna's smile faded. She stood up and walked to Tom's window, looking out at the night sky. "I'm from what you would call the Stellar Union. We're one of the more advanced civilizations out there. But we're not the only ones." She turned back to face Tom. "The hunters found our space station 2 days ago. They're a species that believes only the strongest should survive. They destroy any civilization they think might one day challenge them. And they were attacking your station?" Tom asked, pieces starting to fall into place. Luna nodded. "I was supposed to escape to one of our sanctuary worlds, but my pod's navigation system was damaged in the attack. It brought me here instead." She looked down at her hands. "Earth isn't supposed to know about any of this yet. You're classified as a developing world, still figuring out your own path." Tom sat back in his chair, trying to process everything. "So those helicopters. They probably detected my pod's energy signature when I arrived." Luna finished. "Your governments might not know about aliens officially, but they watch for signs." She walked back to where Tom sat. "I've put you in danger just by being here. I should go." "No," Tom said firmly, surprising himself with how quickly he responded. "You came here by accident, but maybe it wasn't just bad luck. Maybe." He gestured to the repaired translator. "Maybe we can help each other. Earth might be a developing world, but that doesn't mean we're helpless." Luna studied him for a long moment, her shifting pupils adjusting as she thought. Finally, she nodded. "You know," she said, "that's exactly the kind of thinking the hunters don't expect. They always underestimate younger civilizations." Outside, the first light of dawn was beginning to appear. Both Tom and Luna knew that with the new day would come new challenges, but somehow facing them together seemed less impossible than it had just hours ago. 3 black SUVs crawled down the street like hungry predators. Tom watched them from his apartment window, his heart pounding. Behind him, Luna was using her strange silver pen tool to make his old laptop run 100 times faster than it should. "They're getting closer," Tom whispered, stepping back from the window. "I've never seen so many government vehicles in this neighborhood." Luna didn't look up from the laptop. "They're tracking energy signatures. My pod left traces when it jumped here." Her fingers moved across the keyboard faster than human eyes could follow. "But I think I can help with that." Tom walked over to see what she was doing. The screen showed patterns and numbers that made his head hurt. "What exactly are you doing to my laptop?" "Teaching it to create a false energy pattern," Luna said. "Like making noise to hide a sound. Your Earth computers are simple, but they're very flexible. You humans build things that can be used in ways you didn't plan for." A sharp knock at the door made them both freeze. "Mr. Parker?" A deep voice called out, "This is Agent Wilson. We'd like to ask you a few questions." Tom looked at Luna in panic. She quickly pressed a few more keys, then grabbed her translator. "The back window," she whispered. "We need to go. Now." The knock came again, louder this time. "Mr. Parker, please open the door." Tom grabbed his backpack, quickly stuffing it with his tools and Luna's broken pod parts. Luna disconnected from the laptop, which was now humming with a strange energy. As they moved toward the back window, Tom's robot arm project suddenly sparked to life, knocking over a cup of pens. "Mr. Parker, we're coming in." The sound of a key in the lock spurred them into action. Tom pushed open the window as Luna's hands moved in a blur, attaching something to the wall. Just as the door began to open, she grabbed Tom's hand. "Don't look down," she whispered, and pulled him out the window. Instead of falling 4 stories, they slid down what felt like an invisible slide. Luna's device created a shimmering energy path that curved around the building. They landed softly in the alley behind the apartment complex, just as shouts erupted from Tom's window above. "Run," Luna said, and they did. They ran through back alleys and side streets, Luna occasionally using her tools to scramble security cameras they passed. Tom led them through paths he'd walked 1,000 times, but everything felt different now. Every car could be a threat, every pedestrian a potential agent. Finally, they stopped in a small park, hidden by trees and the growing darkness. Tom caught his breath while Luna checked her devices. "Your laptop worked," she said, showing him a screen full of dots. "Look, they're all spreading out, following different energy signatures. None of them are real." Tom laughed despite himself. "You turned my old computer into an alien signal broadcaster." "Actually, you helped make it possible," Luna said, her shifting eyes showing what Tom was learning to recognize as amusement. "Your machine was already modified with your robotics work. I just expanded on what was there." A helicopter passed overhead, but this time it moved away from them, chasing another false signal. Tom watched it disappear into the distance. "You know what's funny?" he said. "A week ago, my biggest worry was finishing my robotics project on time. Now I'm helping an alien hide from the government." Luna's expression turned serious. "Tom, there's something else you should know. The hunters, they're not just after my people. We discovered their plans. Earth is on their list too." Tom felt a chill that had nothing to do with the evening air. "What? But you said we're just a developing world." "That's exactly why," Luna said. "They like to eliminate potential threats before they become actual threats. Your people are creative, adaptable. That makes you dangerous in their eyes." Above them, stars began appearing in the darkening sky. Tom wondered how many of them now held threats he'd never known existed. But somehow, having Luna here made those threats feel less overwhelming. They weren't just running anymore. They were fighting back in their own small way. "So," he said, "what's our next move?" Tom's friend Alex stared at Luna with wide eyes, his coffee forgotten on the table between them. They sat in the corner of a quiet diner at 3 a.m., the only time they felt safe meeting. The fluorescent lights made Luna's silvery skin glow slightly, but the late hour meant the only other customer was a truck driver dozing in his booth. "So let me get this straight," Alex said, running his hands through his messy black hair. "You're telling me that not only are aliens real, but there's an entire civilization of space hunters coming to wipe us out." "That's actually a pretty good summary," Tom said, keeping his voice low. He trusted Alex. They'd been friends since freshman year, and Alex was the best computer programmer he knew. But saying it all out loud still felt unreal. Luna nodded, her shifting pupils scanning the diner constantly for threats. "The hunters have already destroyed 12 developing civilizations this year alone. They call it pruning the galaxy." She pulled out a small device, placing it carefully on the table. A hologram appeared above it, showing a star map. "These red marks," she pointed to several spots in the hologram, "were all thriving worlds 6 months ago. Now they're just empty. Alex leaned forward, his programmer's mind already analyzing the patterns. They're moving in a specific direction, getting closer to our solar system. Yes, Luna said, but that's not the worst part. She waved her hand through the hologram, and it changed to show a different set of data. The hunters aren't just destroying worlds randomly. They're targeting specific types of civilizations. Tom watched as charts and graphs appeared in the air. Even though he couldn't read the alien writing, the patterns were clear. They're looking for something specific. They're looking for creativity, Luna said, her voice heavy. Innovation. The ability to think in ways they don't expect. She looked at Tom, like how you fixed my translator by combining your Earth engineering with our technology. The hunters hate that kind of unpredictability. Alex sat back, whistling softly. So they're not actually hunting the strongest civilizations. They're hunting the ones that could become the strongest. Exactly, Luna said. And Earth is practically glowing on their sensors. Your people take technology and use it in ways its creators never imagined. You adapt, combine different ideas, find solutions no one else sees. She smiled slightly. It drives the hunters crazy. Tom remembered how they'd used his modified laptop to create false energy signatures. That's why they're coming here. Because we're too creative. You don't follow the normal patterns of technological development, Luna explained. Most civilizations develop space travel before they perfect computer networks. They master energy weapons before they think of simple projectiles. But humans, you do everything differently. We're messy, Alex said, starting to grin. Unpredictable. And that makes us dangerous, Tom finished, understanding dawning in his eyes. Not because of how advanced we are, but because of how we think. Luna nodded. The hunters believe they can predict and counter any civilization's development. But Earth. She waved her hand through the hologram, making it disappear. You humans keep surprising everyone, including me. The truck driver in the corner stirred, making them all tense. But he just shifted in his sleep and began snoring again. So what do we do? Alex asked, his earlier skepticism replaced with determination. How do we fight an advanced alien civilization that wants to wipe us out? Luna looked between the two friends, her expression thoughtful. We do exactly what the hunters fear most. We combine your human creativity with advanced technology in ways they'll never expect. She pulled out her silver pen tool. Starting with this, want to learn how it works? Tom and Alex shared a look. In that moment, they both knew their lives would never be the same. But somehow, that didn't seem like a bad thing anymore. Ruby Martinez stood in her university's biology lab, staring through a microscope at something that shouldn't exist. Tom and Alex watched nervously while Luna hovered nearby, her silver pen tool glowing softly in the dim lab. This is impossible, Ruby whispered, adjusting the microscope's focus. The cell structures are changing as I watch. They're adapting in real time. That's Stellar Union Biotechnology, Luna explained. We use it for healing and repairs. She pointed to the silver pen tool. The same principles that let this tool fix my translator. Ruby looked up from the microscope, her dark eyes bright with excitement. But it's not just repairing, it's improving. The cellular structure is becoming more efficient with each change. She turned to Tom. And you say this happens with mechanical things too? Tom nodded, pulling out the small robot arm from his backpack. It looked different now, after Luna had helped him modify it. Watch this, he said, setting it on the lab table. The arm moved with impossible smoothness, its joints flowing like liquid metal while maintaining perfect precision. It's not just alien technology anymore, Alex added, his laptop displaying complex code patterns. We've been combining it with Earth tech, making something new. Ruby sat down, her mind racing with possibilities. So the cellular adaptation could be combined with human medical techniques. She grabbed a notebook and started sketching rapidly. What if we used this for epidemic prevention? or environmental restoration. That's exactly what the hunters are afraid of, Luna said, smiling. Humans don't just use technology. You transform it. Make it into something new. Tom watched as Ruby and Alex bounced ideas back and forth, their excitement growing. Ruby was the smartest biology student he knew, and her mind worked in ways that surprised even Luna. Where others saw limits, Ruby saw possibilities. Look at this, Ruby said suddenly, pointing to her notebook. If we combine the adaptive properties of Luna's biotech with basic Earth medicines, she turned to Luna. Could your tool interface with natural materials, like plants or minerals? Luna's eyes widened. Yes, but we never thought to use it that way. We always focused on synthetic materials. That's what I mean. Ruby jumped up, pacing with energy. Earth's full of natural resources that could be enhanced. We wouldn't need to build everything from scratch. Alex's fingers flew across his keyboard. I could write programs to coordinate the adaptations, make them work together instead of randomly. Tom picked up the robot arm, an idea forming. And I could design interfaces to connect everything. Bridge the gap between biological and mechanical systems. Luna watched them work, her shifting pupils dancing with reflected light. This is amazing, she said softly. The hunters think they're superior because their technology is more advanced. But they never imagine combining things this way. Because they're stuck thinking in straight lines, Ruby said, still sketching. But nature doesn't work in straight lines. It works in webs, in cycles, in combinations. And humans are really good at making a mess of straight lines, Alex added with a grin. A sound from the hallway made them all freeze. It was past midnight, and they weren't supposed to be in the lab. But Ruby had insisted some of her ideas couldn't wait. The footsteps passed by without stopping. They all breathed a sigh of relief. We should go, Tom said, carefully packing up their work. But this is big. We're not just hiding anymore. We're preparing. Luna helped gather their equipment, her expression both excited and worried. The hunters will come soon. They always do. But she looked around at her new friends. I don't think they have any idea what they're about to face. As they slipped out of the lab into the quiet night, Tom realized something had changed. They weren't just survivors anymore. They were becoming something new, just like the technologies they were combining. Something that even the hunters couldn't predict. The night sky exploded with light. Tom, Luna, Alex, and Ruby stood on the university roof, watching as a massive ship emerged from what looked like a tear in space. Unlike the aggressive, dark vessels of the hunters, this one shimmered with the same silvery glow as Luna's skin. The Stellar Union, Luna whispered, her voice mixing relief and worry. They found us. Is that good or bad? Alex asked, his laptop humming with strange energies from their experiments. Before Luna could answer, more ships appeared. Smaller ones, sleek and fast, spreading out across the sky. The government's response was immediate. Military jets scrambled from nearby bases, their engines roaring through the night air. We have to stop them from fighting each other, Tom said, grabbing Luna's translator. They had modified it over the past weeks, boosting its range far beyond its original design. Can we broadcast a message? Ruby pulled out their latest invention, a combination of Earth radio technology and Luna's communication systems. Already on it, she said, connecting it to Alex's laptop. If this works, we should be able to reach both sides. Luna's fingers danced across the device, adding alien code to Alex's programs. The air crackled with energy as their hybrid technology came to life. To all Earth forces and Stellar Union ships, Luna spoke into the translator, her words converting into multiple formats simultaneously. This is not a hostile encounter. Earth is in danger, but not from these ships. They watched as the military jets slowed their approach. The Stellar Union vessels held position, their lights pulsing in familiar patterns that Luna had taught them meant peace. It's working, Alex whispered, watching data stream across his screen. They're talking to each other. Suddenly, all their devices began beeping urgently. Ruby's biological sensors, Tom's mechanical interfaces, Alex's detection programs. Everything lit up at once. Hunter scout ship, Luna said, her pupils contracting to tiny points. Just dropped out of jump space at the edge of your solar system. Tom grabbed their prototype defense system, a strange combination of Earth satellite dishes, Luna's repair tools, and Ruby's biotech interfaces. How long do we have? Minutes, Luna said, helping him set up the equipment. Maybe less. The hunters always send scouts before the main fleet. Below them, chaos was erupting. Police sirens wailed through the streets as people noticed the ships in the sky. News helicopters appeared, their spotlights sweeping across buildings. The governments are talking, Alex reported, monitoring communications, but they're arguing about jurisdiction, about protocols. He looked up, frustrated. They're wasting time. Then we don't wait for them, Ruby said firmly. She pulled out a small vial of their hybrid biotech material, part Earth bacteria, part alien adaptation systems. We know the hunters' weapons are vulnerable to unexpected combinations. Let's show them what we've got. Luna's translator suddenly sparked with new messages. The Stellar Union ships are detecting more hunter vessels preparing to jump, a whole fleet. She looked at her friends, her silvery skin glowing brighter with stress. They're coming early. We're not ready. We're never going to be completely ready, Tom said, making final adjustments to their defense system. But we have something better than perfect preparation. He looked at their small group, a human engineer, a programmer, a biologist, and an alien refugee. We have creativity, adaptability, and coffee, Alex added, pulling an energy drink from his backpack. Lots of coffee. Despite the tension, they all laughed. It was the kind of unexpected human moment that Luna had come to love about Earth. The Hunter Scout ship was getting closer. Soon, the real battle would begin. But as Tom looked at their hybrid technology, at the impossible combinations they'd created, he felt something unexpected. Hope. The hunters think they know exactly what they're going to find here, he said. Let's show them how wrong they are. The hunter fleet appeared like dark stars against the night sky, their ships blocking out the real stars behind them. Tom counted at least 30 vessels, each one bigger than any human spacecraft ever built. The Stellar Union ships looked tiny in comparison, clustering protectively around Earth. Their weapons are powering up, Luna said, her translator picking up enemy communications. She stood with Tom, Ruby, and Alex on the university roof, their hybrid defense system humming with energy around them. Alex's fingers flew across his keyboard. Uploading our virus now. Ruby, is the biotech ready? Ruby held up a glowing container of their modified bacteria. Ready. These little guys are programmed to eat through hunter ship material like it's candy. She looked at Tom. Just need your delivery system. Tom nodded, making final adjustments to his modified robot arm, now transformed into a launching system. Luna, will their shields stop this? They won't even notice it, Luna said with a smile. They're looking for energy weapons, not, what did you call it? A glorified slingshot, Tom grinned. Sometimes the old ways work best. The first hunter ship fired, its beam of energy heading straight for a Stellar Union vessel. But instead of hitting shields, the energy scattered, redirected by thousands of small mirrors that Tom and Luna had helped Earth's satellites deploy. The redirected energy splashed harmlessly into space. They're confused. Luna translated the hunter communications. They're laughing at how primitive our defense is. Perfect, Alex said. They won't realize their computer systems are already infected. In 3, 2, 1. Across the hunter fleet, ships suddenly lost power in random patterns. Their perfect formation broke apart as vessels tried to avoid colliding with each other. Tom took aim with his launcher. Now, Ruby. The container of hybrid bacteria launched high into the air, carried by a simple mechanical system that no advanced civilization would think to scan for. As it reached the closest hunter ship, The container burst, spreading its contents across the hull. "It's working," Ruby exclaimed, watching through binoculars. "The hull is dissolving." More hunter ships arrived, filling the sky with their dark shapes. But now Earth was ready. Military jets launched missiles carrying more of Ruby's bacteria. Stellar Union ships provided cover, their advanced shields protecting Earth's forces, while Alex's virus caused hunter weapons to misfire. "They're sending boarding parties," Luna warned. "They think they can take over Earth's facilities directly." Tom smiled. "Let them try. Every piece of Earth technology is now partly alive. Thanks to your biotech and Ruby's modifications, they won't be able to control anything." As if to prove his point, the university's own computer systems repelled a hunter hacking attempt, the hybrid technology adapting faster than the aliens could break through. The hunter commander's voice boomed through Luna's translator, filled with frustration. "What is this primitive magic? Your technology makes no sense." Luna replied in their language. "That's humanity's greatest strength. They don't follow your rules. They make their own." The battle raged for hours. But for every advanced weapon the hunters deployed, Earth had an unexpected counter. Simple projectiles carried complex bioweapons. Basic radio signals hid sophisticated computer viruses. Old technology combined with new in ways that made hunter targeting systems useless. Finally, as dawn broke over the horizon, the remaining hunter ships began to retreat. Their once perfect formation was in shambles, their hulls marked with patches of dissolving metal, their weapons systems corrupted by human computer code they couldn't understand. "They're sending a message to their homeworld," Luna translated, her voice filled with wonder. They're recommending that Earth be classified as too unpredictable to invade." Tom looked at his friends, at Ruby's triumphant smile, at Alex's tired but happy face, at Luna's shimmering eyes. "Too unpredictable," he repeated. "I think that's the best compliment humanity has ever received." As the sun rose over their defended world, Luna took Tom's hand. "You know," she said, "I think I'll stay on Earth. There's still so much to learn about being unpredictable." The Stellar Union ships began landing in designated areas, ready to open official relations with Earth. But Tom barely noticed. He was already thinking about what other impossible combinations they could create, what other rules they could break. After all, that's what humans did best.